when people talk about you, what part of the story do they always get wrong?
Uh, I, I- there's one thing that kind of comes to mind, and it's that I was gifted or talented. Um, that mainly pertain, or that I'm smart, gifted, talented, smart, any of those things. Like when it comes to CrossFit, I recently had a conversation with someone who was like, "I feel like you were very gifted and talented when it came to the sport." And I was like, "Dude, the only thing I really had from a sports background was wrestling, which made me specialized at nothing." Um, you know, I had okay in endurance from like a body movement standpoint, but I wasn't an exceptional runner. I wasn't strong. I was super lanky. I was like 5'11" and 160 pounds as a wrestler. Um, the only thing it really did give me was good mobility. But like whenever I came into the sport of CrossFit, I was just like I just kind of average at a lot of things, which I guess was a blessing because I didn't have any major gaps, but I did have to work really hard to get stronger, to learn gymnastics movements, um, and to be able to kind of build a repertoire of skills that made me good in the sport. Um, and like the only thing I really had was just like the mental grind that I loved from wrestling. I wasn't talented, I wasn't strong, wasn't athletic. Um, you ask me and my siblings or anyone who grew up with me, and like you put a ball in my hands, I'm basically like, I mean, I'm no better than Grayson trying to kick a soccer ball around, you know. Um, so I don't think at any point in my life I was really gifted at anything, but I was hard headed. Um, and so I look at like my brother and my sister, and they're both far more athletic than I am. My brother was always like, I I, I always thought he was gifted because he was just like he was so good at a lot of sports that he played, and on the other hand, took me years to be able to do the things that he was able to do. And so, from the CrossFit standpoint, I don't think I was gifted. I had to work really hard. I mean, it took me 5 years to qualify for the CrossFit Games, and I've just been at it for over 12 years now. Um, just getting a little bit better here and there, and just there's little improvements over time, just staying consistent. That's what mattered. The other thing is that people say like I'm super smart. I'm a medical physicist. People call me a physicist, which I guess is true. And so therefore they think I'm smart. But in high school, I was a BC student. Like I wasn't gifted in any way. Um, and whenever I went to college and decided to get a degree in physics, I was like, this is going to be freaking hard. Like this is going to be really hard. I know I'm not a good student, so I've got to figure out how to become a good student. I had to learn how to study, how to commit things to memory. And I became really good friends. They say like the people you surround yourself with are like the what you tend to be like, like you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, something like that. My best friends for 4 years in college were some of the smartest individuals I've ever met in computer programming, in physics and math. Like they were just wizards, and I spent all of my time with them. I would get together at their dorms on the campus, and like we would just sit at a whiteboard and do physics problems all night on a Friday night when everyone else has gone to the bars, or like my now like Kristen, we were dating in college, and she would be at a sorority event with another dude, not me, because I was in someone's dorm doing physics problems. I had tutors. I failed tests in college, uh, and then I'd get tutors just to drive my grades back. And ended up getting like a 3 point. I think I graduated with like a 3.85 in physics, which was like to me was exceptional. And so, yeah, it wasn't nothing that I've done has like come easy. It's come after a lot of time, a lot of work.
So that kind of leads me into the next question, which we've touched on a bit, but I want you to think if maybe there's even anything deeper. If someone only saw your success, what would they never guess it cost you?
Happiness.
Yeah.
Uh, And I think for probably 8 years, I struggled with happiness. Um, and I've gotten a lot better at it over time, but I only lived for tomorrow for so long that I like never was able to be present. It cost me friendships, cost me memories. Um, and so like, and those are things like I can't really get back, but I don't think that I'm regretful that I can't get those back. Um, I think in order to reach some kind of success, you have, and I call it, you've got to dig through the shit and get your hands dirty if you want to plant flowers. And that's what I had to do for quite a long time and still do quite a bit. I think I don't mind having my hands as dirty now, you know? I don't mind digging through the cow manure in order to spread the fertilizer and plant flowers. I enjoy it. And so it's become like a source of happiness for me and a source of purpose and fulfillment and involving my family in it more, involving Kristen and Grayson in the journey more makes it way more, fulfilling to me. Um, and so, and then, the other side, like I lost a lot of friends along the way. The, the people that have similar aspirations and want to do similar things with their life kind of filter their way in, and then you make new friendships. And so, on that side, like I've got no regrets on any side of it, really.
Yeah. Can you remember a moment when everything you believed about yourself stopped making sense? Or had it ever felt like that?
That's a good question. I think the belief that I wasn't capable stopped making sense. I, the biggest beliefs we often have that feel the most real is that we can't do it for some reason, whatever it is, and whatever the reason is. We can't, be a starter on the football team. We can't date that girl that we have a crush on. We can't afford that house that we drive by on the street and we think is beautiful. We can't do X, Y, Z. We can't make our family prosperous from like financials, like whatever it is. We often see it and we're like, man, I can't do that. But what I think we fail to realize is, one, it's possible because someone else has done it. And number two, I think we just think so short-sighted. I can't do that this year. Well, that very well may be true. And it might take a little bit more time. But I think once you start drawing out a plan and like thinking like, you start asking yourself like, how can I? You start realizing, oh, like I'm actually quite capable of almost anything. Um, and so I think that's maybe one of the things that I had a belief in that I had to recognize, just like, that really doesn't make sense to say, like, I can't do that. I think maybe sometimes I'm not willing to is a more honest answer. I'm not willing to work that hard to make those sacrifices to endure that much pain, and that's okay. But to say that I can't do it is really putting a massive limiter on your true potential.
Do you think a version of you had to die for you to become who you are now?
Yeah.
What was that?
Um, there's there's still a version of me that has to die continuously to be who I am now. And in fact, like I had this conversation with a close group of friends recently. Um, there are times where I don't feel motivated. I feel exhausted. Like I don't want to be disciplined. I don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. to work every day. I don't want to go out of state for multiple days to go on a work trip. Um, I just want to be able to like take a deep breath without anxiety. I want to be able to just exist without all the work. And like that's often in my head. And so pretty much every day I've got to kill that version of myself that wants to like push through and be like, "Hey, take it easy." ease off the gas. Don't wake up so early. Don't go to the gym. Eat all the crap. Like, there's a lot of times where you just have to quiet that side of you up. And if that is the predominant version of yourself now, there's also a version of you who's saying, wake up early, go to the gym, go do the extra work, take on that side hustle. And you're every day, you're also quieting that side. If your predominant side is the one who's like, I don't have aspirations. I don't want to work hard. I don't want to. There's always going to be those two sides. And like, you have to make that conscious decision every day, which one you want to feed and which one you want to stifle out and stomp out. And so, I think over time, I was able to get better at quieting one and feeding the other, and recognizing that the voice will always be there who's saying, hey, slow down, ease off the gas pedal, it's okay. And I have to make the decision every day not to.
I recently read something, which
It was like a psychiatrist talking about millennials and that kind of thing, and how we seem to constantly operate in almost like a panic state,
Mm-hmm.
and we're afraid of rest.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find yourself to feel weak and like afraid of rest? Because like you're talking about that demon of like, okay, I don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. today. Do you ever like, do you feel disappointed in yourself to feed that side of yourself? Does it feel like, because it sounds like from what you're saying, the lessons that you constantly teach yourself is to be disciplined because you know it's for the greater good.
Mhm.
Are you afraid to feed that other side of yourself that might be craving rest or taking it back a step?
Yes, because I don't think I'm far enough down the journey yet to be able to ease off the gas pedal.
Yet.
I mean, I'm 31 years old. My son is almost 11 months old. The businesses are in their infancy in my mind. Like, they're just getting started. And so there is no good reason for me to long-term ease off the gas pedal. I will say that rest is very, like, to be able to breathe and rest and take your mind off of the pressure is great for a moment and intermittently, to be able to go on a holiday or a vacation and to be able to take yourself away from it and then come back stronger. It's like the same as a rest day for exercising, right? If you trained every day, 365 days a year, you're not going to make nearly the progress that you could if you'd inserted a rest day every week into there, because your body has to recover similarly to your mind and your spirit. And so I've gotten better about being able to actually be present whenever I'm taking a vacation or whatever, especially like we had Thanksgiving just a couple weeks ago. And it was the first of it, like Thanksgiving in a long time, where like I was able to breathe easy, and I was able to get back into work after and feel really good about it. And so like I think those moments of rest are good, but that's different than easing off the gas pedal.
Sure.
It's a rest day, a rest period, a rest vacation. But like whenever you get back home, you're hitting that routine again, like that alarm's going off, like you're ready to go.
Absolutely. So, what's the fear underneath your biggest strength?
I think one of my biggest strengths is the discipline side of things and being willing to just be uncomfortable. But I think the fear in there, I think it's a fear that I think is one of the biggest drivers for highly successful people, is this anxiety of failure. Just like this fear of like not being good enough. As a physicist, like I'm terrified of not serving my clients well enough and making them happy enough that they would cancel a contract with me. And that fear drives me to bring them donuts whenever I go work for them, to buy coffee mugs and give them that for Christmas, like to bend over backwards whenever they ask a service of me. Like, and I want to serve, like it makes me happy to serve them, but I'm also terrified of them not receiving the service that they deserve and me being at fault for that and therefore failing. with the EMOM company, like it plagues my mind if I'm writing a good enough program that keeps people engaged, progressing, injury free, excited, um, well, like all of it, like it plagues my mind that I'm not doing well enough, and people are going to notice that I don't write a, like they're going to think or notice that I don't write a good program and I'm failing them, and then they're going to start jumping ship and like going somewhere else, like that. Like that actually keeps me up at night, you know. So
When do you feel like you're faking it the most?
probably whenever I start something new.
Fake it till you make it?
um I don't know if that, I don't know if it's fake it till you make it so much as do it regardless of the insecurities. 'Cause I don't think I'm faking the the uh the genuineness, authenticity, a good word for it. I don't think I'm faking the authenticity behind what I do and really trying to excel at what I do. But I think whenever you first start something, you just don't know. You don't know what's good and what's bad. What routine works the best, what processes work the best. And so early on, like you do feel like a massive imposter. And the only thing that kind of changes that is a long track record of growth and success. Like, dude, with CrossFit, I felt like I wasn't good enough to be at the CrossFit Games until I qualified for the 5th time. You know, I was like, okay, 5 times, they can't all be flukes. The likelihood of them all being accidents is very low. And so, okay, maybe I do belong with some of the fittest men in the world.
You definitely belong.
It took me a long time to believe that.
Yeah. Is there anything that you still haven't forgiven yourself for?
Yeah.
What is it?
There's a lot of things. There's people I've hurt.
Yeah. Do you think you could ever go back? Like I had a conversation with somebody today and we were talking about another individual that they're a mutual of ours. And he had kind of burned a bridge with him. And he said to me, I hadn't swallowed the pill to say I'm sorry yet, but that's a conversation I need to have. Is that something that you think you could do, or do you think it's already gone?
I think there's some things better left, just like gone. And then there are some things that are worth repairing.
Sure.
And so, I think the relationships or the people that I've hurt that matter enough, to go back and in that relationship, I absolutely have 100%. I don't like hurting people, and I've never done it intentionally. It's been, lack of judgment, lack of foresight, whatever you want to call it. And to, and there's some times where like you don't have the opportunity to go back. If I could go back and have a better head on my shoulders, I would change things in the past in terms of like things I've done or said or whatever it might be. And sometimes you don't get the chance to go back.
Yeah. Do you think that your success comes more from control or surrender?
I think,
Or did you have to feed one?
I believe progress comes from control and happiness comes from surrender. Peace comes from surrender.
For sure.
Yet, if I let the river just flow, like if I just sat in a raft down the river, I undoubtedly go downhill. The only way to control that is to swim up. And so, one is much harder, but one gets us north, brings us to progress where we're trying to go. and the other allows you to sit and be peaceful. And so I think in order, there's a lot of things that I've done that take quite a lot of control of factors that I can control, and surrender of factors that I can't. And so this the progress comes from controlling the things that I can, and the peace of mind comes from surrendering the things that I can't. One of those is outcomes. I have to surrender the outcomes, uh, and just know that the only thing that I do have control over is what I can.
Definitely. How do you carry your past without letting it control you? I mean, we all have our demons and skeletons in the closet. How do you continue to move forward?
John Deloney, Dr. John Deloney, psychologist. I listened to some of his stuff, and he's got a really good thing that he says frequently, and it's do the next right thing. Right? Um, the only thing that we can do is the next right thing. And so, if you misstepped in the past or went down a wrong course, okay, you did something wrong, you did something stupid, you made a loss, like you made the wrong decision, whatever it is. Okay, it's done. What's the next thing that you can do right? And that is, again, that comes back to surrender the outcome and control the controllables. I made a bad investment. Okay, work really hard, build up some cash, and make a new investment. But this time, do it smarter and don't do something stupid. It's that philosophy with everything.
Mm-hmm. What does healing actually look like? Because you've had to heal from your missteps. You've had to heal also, like, physically unsure from injury.
Mm-hmm.
And not like the pretty version of like some sort of like quote that we've all read off of Pinterest. Like the real version of how do you heal yourself?
I think time's a big factor to allow yourself to sit in it, and learn from it. I think the hardest thing would be to not learn from the injury that you've had. And like you can use the physical as an analogy. I blow out my Achilles doing rebound and box jumps, and then I work hard, and time goes on, and I do the rehab, and the Achilles heals up, and then I go back to doing box jumps again. Like, maybe that's not a good idea. I've been down this path. There is a good saying. You step in shit once, that's okay. But when you're walking back down that path and you step in it again, that's your fault.
I like that. Do you ever think we're truly healed, or we just evolve around the pain?
I think we scar. And the interesting thing about scar tissue is that it's a bit stronger than the original tissue. And so, yeah. It's our emotional and physical, spiritual, whatever way of healing us for that happening again in the future. And so the body and mind are like it's a beautiful construction. Like you go through a traumatic event and it hurts enough and you heal from it, you'll be damned if you let that happen again, right? That's why people will have trouble putting down boundaries between loved ones. They keep those boundaries up because they've been hurt before by someone they loved. It's the reason why, you do something physical, you cut your finger on a knife, and you're a little bit more careful the next time. You're not going to let that happen again. And so, yeah, I do think we do truly heal, but I think scars are left behind for sure.
Was there like a first time, a moment that you can think of that you realized that growth doesn't feel all that great at first?
All the time. Constantly. I don't think there's much in life that if you want to see an improvement, it will be comfortable. Um, you know, I started going to therapy a couple years ago, and it was extremely uncomfortable because I had to ask myself a lot of questions and give answers to a lot of things that I was able to just like put underneath a rug for quite some time. And so I hated it for a long time. Hell, I mean, there's even times where like, yeah, I don't need to go this week. I'll be fine. Like, it's uncomfortable for sure. But over time, you start to recognize and see like the value behind asking like the hard questions and doing the hard things. And then you start to see the growth from that. And you recognize the value, and the value returned makes the discomfort easier. So growth is always going to be uncomfortable, and there's like so many ways that that's just like personified in nature. Like a snake shedding its like exoskeleton. Like in order to grow, it's got to go through this discomfort, like this uncomfortable stage where it's got to shed its skin. Um,
But both are kind of beautiful. Like
it is beautiful. Uh, you know, a a uh a caterpillar forming a cocoon and breaking out, and it's fragile. Like that butterfly that emerges is fragile until it dries out and its wings are full grown and it can fly. Like growth is always going to be painful, and I think the important thing again is that, and that's where control comes in, is to be able to control the emotions of yourself and saying like, this is too hard, this is uncomfortable, I haven't seen the value yet. Once you can control that and surrender the value or the result you're trying to get from it, you can walk through the discomfort.
When you strip everything away, the titles, your wins, both in business and in the CrossFit sphere, expectations, who's left?
Kristen and Grayson.
No, I mean of you, but that's it.
Kristen and Grayson.
And what do you think your story is really about?
Them.
What do you hope people feel after being in your presence?
Loved.
I do. If your younger self could watch you now, do you think they'd recognize you?
I don't think they'd believe it. My younger self was so afraid of what I could or couldn't do. And my younger self was so afraid of what I couldn't do in the future. And not being like good enough. I would drive through neighborhoods and think, if I could just have this house and that car, I will have deemed myself successful enough and good enough. If I could just do that, that would be okay and that would be good. Because I was so afraid of not making anything of myself and being like again, this stems, I felt quite a bit of pressure from both my father and my brother. It was a very high standard and high bar to try to achieve. But one thing that my dad did do really well was he unceasingly reminded me that I was capable of anything that I wanted to do. And he drilled that into my brain so much that I think I eventually started to believe it. You're told enough. If you tell someone frequently, you tell a beautiful human being, handsome or beautiful, man or woman, whatever, you tell them that they are ugly again and again, they will sure as hell begin to believe it. And so the opposite is also true. You tell someone who's average that they are capable of anything again and again, they'll eventually believe it. And so he drilled that into us. And I think I guess I kind of eventually believed it. And I think that, again, still the limiter is myself for sure. But yeah, my younger self might look at what I have now and be like, holy shit, like you did that, you know?
I'm proud of yourself, like where you are. I mean, I know you still got a lot of down the road that you want to accomplish, but in the current moment, if you looked in that mirror, could you tell yourself that you're proud?
At times.
Not all the time.
Mm-mm.
What?
If life is a series of ladders that you're trying to climb, stair steps, whatever, it takes quite a bit of energy to get up one step. And when you get to that step, you're like, oh shit, I did it. Like that was really hard and I did it. But once you're at that step, you get comfortable and you're like, okay, I see another step. And so I must climb it. And so it's these waves of looking, like achieving one of the steps that I've been trying to achieve. And like, holy shit, like that took a year to do. And you look back at the previous year, you're like, dude, we doubled, or I got that contract, that was that I've been working. There's a contract I got that I worked on for 18 months trying to get. And then you get it and you start doing the work, and then the work becomes routine. And you're like, there's a contract over there I might be able to get. Or let me see if I can get that one. You're like, I haven't, and if you go through a period of like, it's been 3 years and we haven't added on anything significant, you're like, what am I doing wrong? And you lose that pride in yourself.
Would you say it's a keep chasing mentality?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. But I think that's one of the cool things about life is as you like increase your levels, you level up in your fitness, in your relationships, and whatever it is. You get to a steady state where your body and mind adapt to the level that you're at, and then the cool thing is that now you can take on a new challenge to figure out what the next level is. That's the thing I think that keeps you going and purpose driven and fulfilled throughout all of life is how can I keep doing this and improving? I think the worst thing you could do is say, this is it. I've achieved everything that I wanted to achieve and now I'm done. And it can be in like so many, and I have. It's like I competed in CrossFit for a decade. If I kept doing it, I'm like, I'm gonna get better. I would eventually, things would start going sour, go bad, whatever. And so I did everything I wanted to do in CrossFit. Like say, okay, I'm done. I have no desire to be one of the fittest men in the world anymore. What's the new goal with my training? Ultra seems pretty cool. Ironman seems pretty cool. High rocks races seem fun. Those are things that I haven't tried to get better at. And I can see improvement in those things and start at a level 0 and start going to the level 1 and a 2 and a 3 and start climbing again. And then once I'm done with those, it'll be, okay, I'm in my 60s and fitness looks very different, but what is the goal that I have here?
Masters.
Maybe. And so like the goal will always change, there may be a time where someone says, all right, like I've hit retirement, I've got enough money in the bank to last me and my family the rest of my life, and I can leave some behind. And I'm good with that venture. What's something that I haven't done that I would like to do? And now I'm going to start trying to find new levels there. Maybe it's reading, maybe it's community service. Like it's something. And there will always be something to improve on. And so like Kristen, my wife, has like this beautiful thing that she says, and she says, I have not peaked yet and I never will.
I love that.
Like I'm always going to be getting better. And I freaking love that. She's like, I haven't peaked yet. I'm like, yeah, like I like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love these conversations. I have one more question for you, though. Maybe not as deep, but it might be, depending on your answer. What's a question you wish people would ask
But they never do.
I've been asked this question before.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The question I wish people would ask, and it's not to me, I wish people would ask themselves this question more often. And we've touched on it today. How can I? How can I accomplish X, Y, or Z? Because I don't think people ask themselves that question quite enough. You might look at a fitness journey, like, how can I squat 500 pounds? Like, I could, and the thing is, people like look at a 500, like, it'd be cool to do that. I can't do that. Well, maybe ask yourself, how can I? Well, if you're 170 pounds and 6 foot tall, like I was in high school, you maybe got some growing to do. You got to put on some weight. You might need to be 225 pounds and you got to start squatting and you got to hit strength cycles. And it's probably going to take 4 or 5 years for you to even get there. But I used to look at people snatching 275 pounds like, I could probably never do that until I did it. And so we don't ask ourselves, how can we achieve the thing that we want enough? How can I be a millionaire? Well, you put $250 away in the S&P 500 that earns 10%. You put it away every month for the next 30 years, you'll get there. It's very simple. It just takes a little bit of time and a plan. And so people don't ask themselves, how can I do the thing that I want to do enough?
I love that. Well, thank you for being here today. And as always,
Keep chasing. Thank you, Emma.